want to thank the God, but that's the ikka. Yeah. The other guys, they'll be all right. Because I must thank the Gabbai. I have a chashuv. I must thank the Gabbai. Let's go. Am I on or not? I'm on? I better watch what I'm doing. Well, let me fix my beard. I'm on. You better. Am I smiling enough? You know, you got to watch it in this world. You know, they weren't careful. All the daily pictures from way back, they weren't into the smile business. You know, they'd be out of business today. You're not, but the door you have to show that you look good. Probably Miller didn't always smile, am I right? He wasn't into that. We punk got him smiling. I got a great picture here.
Smiling, right? Himself he didn't smile. To others he smiled.
Interesting.
Very serious around himself.
He was serious. Rabbi Miller, not shy. The best thing of Rabbi Miller is he was zeichet to the best eineklach. That's the best thing that ever happened to him, especially the gentleman that I'm talking to. That is the best thing that ever happened to Rabbi Miller. I know, I have Ruach HaKodesh. I know everything going on. I know what they're saying in Shemayim. I know. You know who I am? The Salem has no idea who they're dealing with. Come inside, mach the chemesh. The mashkis shen do. Jack is shen gekimen. Johnny is due. Kim tzaran, was machtze chemesh. I happen to like Chassidim. I don't know why. Something about Chassidim. I like Chassidim. I hope all my Litvak friends don't mind, but I happen to like Chassidim. Please be meichel me. I like Chassidim. I can't help it. It's a weakness. It's a weakness. I like Chassidim. What can you do? I like Chassidim.
I like the Vatican, which I do.
Oh, you like the Vatican too? You know, I'm going to discuss my issues. You got to have an issue. I also have issues. What do you think? I don't have issues? You think I'm a regular guy without issues? A guy without issues, something's not right. Some people have issues because I yashanim in minig amok. I'll tipper spit at Ziba. Everybody has an issue. Oh, you know what's going on, Nebuch? Oh, if you'd only know. You know, I want to tell you. He was not the Katel with his Rebbe. He was a Godel. Shlomo Cheshin told me. I asked the Rebbe Shlomo. I spoke to him right here in Mlikewood. It makes a more geschmack when I say where. There's a Gemara in Makis that the Chachama met the Itlas Shalami and by this marketplace, this spot they spoke. They speak about it. What they have to mention, where, what, when. They spoke about Chamesh Nashim. You know the Gemara Makis, the third parak. You know, the Ezra says to show that they were speaking and learning no matter where they went. That's what he said. Okay, whatever. But I spoke, makes a more geschmack. I met him in the street right here. Right, like a block away from here. Reb Shlomo, tell me, what would you give advice to all the people that come running to you with that peklach? So you know what he said? If you want to have rachmanis on yourself, don't have rachmanis on yourself. People love. No. Macht mit azay viel. You know, I know. Don't ask. I know different people go around forever. No, but my problem is much worse than anything you ever heard of. Mine is worse. You don't know what I go through. Mach peklach. Some people, it's fun. Please be meichel me. All the adults, be meichel me. I hang around 9-year-old kids all my life. So it rubs off. Be meichel me if I'm a little bit, even without Johnny, I'm a little bit like them. You ever see 2 kids? I have a boo-boo, and not you. Who ever heard that? And my boo-boo is much worse than your boo-boo. And when a kid has a cast, he goes around and everyone comes, can I put my name? I have a cast. You know, I'm not a kid. I'm a chashiv kid. Yeah, as a kid, whoa, whoa, whoa. And watch what you're doing, you know. Get covered. Everything's covered. It's kedai to get sick. You'll get covered. People get covered. Ay, nebuch. Ay, nebuch. I have a hard time. I was just on the phone with somebody who's been crying on the phone. And I do feel for them. But then I tell them, look, you want me to keep crying with you? I can do that. But you're not going to get better if I do it. Maybe you will. Some people are told they want to hear. I once did that. I knew my customers right away. He says, okay. And I started, I really felt bad. And I turn out, I'm a big tzaddik. If I decide I'm going to feel bad, I do. I'm not joking. And I turn on the button, and I skabit. You know, I skabit, I am. That's dumb. So I says, you want me to do it? I'll do it. It once happened. I knew who I was talking to. This person had no interest in straightening out the matzav. I could tell from the first word, you have no, as soon as I started suggesting anything, they almost killed me. No, it's not, no, it's not. The matzav is terrible. No, yeah, you're right. And I said, let's cry together. And I agreed, but I know how to listen well. All the pitch of kiss, and you're right about that. And I even was marchiv, and it's even worse than you think it is. And they say, he understands what I'm trying to get across. And if I state that in it's even worse. It's so terrible. How do you live nebuch with this? And I didn't say a word of let's try to straighten out. Not a word. I finished a long drive. I listened a lot. And I cried a lot with them, and I wasn't faking either. And then I said, Kol Tov. I did not offer anything. And they thanked me till Shamayim. Nothing. The matzav is even worse after I get to it there. When I was mazbah how bad it really is. So they thanked me. This person thanked me on the phone. Thank you so much. That's called validation. There is such a thing. Validation. I don't have it too often, but that's all they want. They usually want Yeshuas. And you can't tell many people, be makabel your matzav. Watch out. They'll kill you. They can't handle it. And since they can't handle it, you're not going to handle it either, and you're not going to say it, and you're not going to believe it. And you're going to push that they'll have a Yeshua. Because that's where they're holding, and that's what they're getting. And the Yebishter wants it. Make a Yeshua. The Mama Sarah said, what's the lashon of the pasuk? Hashem took children. I have no children. What's that? The Yebishter made that I shouldn't have children. That's the lashon. So now bring me my shifcha, Hagar, and let's get moving, and then we'll have kids. 1 second. Mama Sarah, didn't she just say that the Eibishter wants I shouldn't have kids? The Eibishter made I shouldn't have kids. So accept it. The Eibishter wants, he's behind it. Well, so let's get a hold of Hagar and we'll get kids. Wait, make up your The Torah says, when the Eibishter gives a peckle, it's from him, but it's meant to overcome. You're there to overcome, but it's hard. I'm already 90 years old, so what? It's meant to be overcome. See the way the Mama Sarah doesn't get, the Mama Leah was the same way. You know, the Yitzchak Avinu said, older one gets the old. You know who Yitzchak was, the Gadol Hador? Yitzchak Avinu, Oila Tmima said, Layala, you're going with Esav. Rachala, with Yaakov. The older to the older, the younger. And the Mama Rachel said, not me. Yitzchak Avinu. And she went to war with Daviding. And she won. She wasn't a spoil. See that? I want to talk about Bezyanis a little bit. You know what the Ramban says about Avraham Avinu? He says, first thing he says, he was full of Bezyanis. You know, Avraham Avinu, they threw rotten tomatoes at him. Avraham Avinu had Bezyanis. And they made fun of him and they cursed him, the Ramban says. they cursed him. They had bezyenis, and he said, they threw him in a pit, and they threw him in a fiery furnace. He had a hard life, Avraham Avinu, but he had loads of bezyenis. By the way, there's another medrash that says when he walked in the street, they said, "Look at that barren mule. A mule can't have kids. He's a mamza. He can't have kids. Look at him. Everyone has kids, and the big Baal Chesed who says you got to be nice, where's Kol Merachim al Abrius? What happened to Chazal? Kol Merachim al Abrius doesn't have kids, and all the bums and the Sdaimim, all the Rishayim, they got beautiful families with baby carriages all over the place. Just Abram, no kids. It's a Chazal. They said, look at that barren mule. That's what they called him, because he had no kids. He had bezyenis, and you want to know who had bezyenis? Noach. Where does it say he had bezyenis? When he built the teva, no? They made fun of him. What does it say? When he built the teva, what are you doing? He thought he was out of his mind. What? Your mom over here, normal? You saw the Chazals on Noach? Bize bezyenis, Noach and Avram, bize bezyenis. And Moshe Rabbeinu, oh, don't ask. You ever read the pasuk, Oid ma'atus koluni? You know what they said about Moshe Rabbeinu when he was alone? They said, he's plotting to kill us. Moshe Rabbeinu. And they said, he was nechshel with an Eishes Ish. Moshe Rabbeinu, no? He had bezyenis. Plenty bezyenis. And the way Dustin Abiram spoke to him, they had bezyenis. And David, not only he had bezyenis, he asked for it. You know, there's a Gemara in Brachos that says that he used to ask questions to Mephibosheth, and he knew he said his pshat. He knew Mephibosheth was a goy olam. In fact, it was a nickname people used to give. There was a certain yeshiva, everybody was gevaldig and learning. He said of that yeshiva, it's a Mephibosheth type of yeshiva. He was like the official goy olam. And he used to have to sit and learn together with him. The Melech, he sat and learning Mephibosheth. I wouldn't do it, I'll go with Malchus. I don't know why it was cheshbon. And he used to learn, and he knew that Mephibosheth was going to put him in his place. And he used to tell him his pshat. He didn't ask him and see what he says and test his waters. He said something that he knew he's going to kill me for that in public. David used to do that. That's why he called himself a chassid, because he's mavaza himself in learning. Shemeni ki chassidani. He brought on himself bezyenis. A lot of Mepharshim say that. He asked for bezyenis. You know where else he got bezyenis? This one everybody knows, the way he danced. He danced a little too much, according to his wife, according to Michal. Well, you're dancing like Achad Areikim. You sound like you're not quite the real thing. You know, they tell this to me also. You're giving out B'tachon weeklies? It passes? And I said, you know, Kel Shimshon, they all see me giving out. I said, you people don't understand. I do this for COVID. It's bezyenis to give out Amuna and B'tachon. I do it for COVID. I'm hungry for COVID, so I give this out. And that makes me feel important. How do you like that one? I have a different way of looking at things. They say, but a lot of people don't take from you. I say, well, they don't take. I love to see the edelkeit, the way they say, no, thank you. I love that. So I do it outstat. I enjoy to see the way B'nai Torah say no. Such an edelkeit. So I have a good time in my life. By me, I'll skate McGill. Bezyenis. By the way, if the world sees it as bezyenis, even though I don't feel it, I get a big kapara. And I want to tell you something about David HaMelech. I'm not finished with him. This is an atomic bomb. He didn't sin. In Novandik, they said David is Moed al Emes, and that's why the Melech Shaul wasn't Moed when he did something wrong. He lost the Malchus. So, in Novandik, they said, what do you mean Moed al Emes? Moed al Sheker. He wasn't nichshol. He did that. L'hayres tshuva liyachid. He wanted to show Klai. He said, you can do tshuva. You see what I did? Boom. He had no shaykhs. So do you know what happened because of that? Do you know how they let him have it? These were Elach Yidden. They thought he was off the derech. And you know how big people, throughout his life, they used to look at him. Remember the Ma'aser Bathsheba? And he killed her husband yet. What's the Megid? You know, David was like upgefragt. He was off the list. Like, is he really okay? What do you think Avshalom became so popular? Because he got, David wasn't, is he really, something's not right. A Maisa like this, Bathsheba, he's like Asa of Russia, you know, running up. And so he knew what he was getting into, and he did that. L'hayres tshuva liyachid. Boom. Is that Bezyanis? By the way, until he was nifter, they weren't machshavim. You know that? They once told him, Mosai. No, they said like this. He was speaking and learning. And they throw in some chevra, Eishasish, you know. Eishasish. I don't know how they got away with this. I don't hear it, but it's a chazal. This is a chazal. They told him, Eishasish. Oh, that's our melech. The example for Klai is brought down. A melech, the Rishonim say, a melech is there to be an example. You know that? Melech, that's our example. No wonder who wants him to be king. That's how you do a thing like this. So, Eishasish, so David turned around. This is unusual that he actually defended himself. Usually he didn't do that so fast. He said, Eishasish, Chayav Chenek, and he gets Olam Haba. But Rabin, ain't like Olam Haba. I'm better than you guys. It's a chazal. It's a sign. But that's unusual that he defended himself. I'll tell you another chazal where they said, they were knocking on the window. They said, Masa Yom Zaken Zeh. They knew he couldn't build a Beis HaMikdash. He had blood on his hand. Whatever, different reason. He can't build a Beis HaMikdash. So when is he going to be nifta? They said maybe a little loud, so he should. They were. I can't understand these chazals. When he's nifta, then Shlomo will build a Beis HaMikdash. And what did David say? He heard them say that. He said, Rabbeinu Shalom, Samachti barmim l'beis Hashem neilech. I'm happy because I know they want to be Mekayim the mitzvah oil regel. With me, they can't do it. Look at the bezyanis he went to, and he didn't mind. Look at that. Except for that, it's interessant that he put them in their place. But normally, you got bezyanis all over the place. He said, David HaMelech was always. So we talk about bezyanis. He not only got it, but he asked for it. Sort of. It's Murday. Who understands David HaMelech? Who else got bezyanis? Moshe, David. You know, we got a lot of bezyanis. Chana's Penina teased the daylights out of her. Where's your child? She had busy. You know what else she had? And then Eli HaKayin is chayshira for being a shikha. And he tells her there's a God Ladar. You're a shikha because she davened low and people didn't. She was new with that mahalach. And they said, oh, shikha, a woman drinking Johnny Walker. When are you going to stop and act normal? It's a pasik. And she got bezyanis. And the Mama Leah for sure didn't have it easy. Vayar Hashem Yisur Leah. You know, Rachel is the one. And Bilhah, when Rachel's nifta, Bilhah, Leah, she had a life of bezyanis. So notice, I mentioned a lot of people here. The bezyanis every. So it seems all the great people, you know, Rabban Kotler, one of the Rosh Hashiva, not the one of the in Lakewood over here, in the Mishpach, I believe. I heard him quoted saying that Lakewood is living on Rabban's bezyanis. You know what bezyanis he had? Rabbi, we're not ready to see you yet. Wait outside. He waits 2 hours. You read that story? He waits 2 hours, and it waited until this guy was a gvir somewhere. He keeps him waiting. Okay, the secretary, give him $36 check, something like that, for a barn couple, good lador. And people told him, they said, Rabban, it's Bezyanis. You know what Rabban said? That's the way it's supposed to be. Now you know we're on the right track. You know. Anyway, Rabban, and Reb Nosson, who remembers Reb Nosson? Who remembers Reb Nosson? Remember him? Bezyanis! Reb Shneya had plenty. Reb Shneya, Kotla, was loaded with Bezyanis. You know that? All right, Reb Nosson more. Reb Nosson used to sort of ask for it, you know. So anybody having problems with Bezyanis, it seems to me like in order to be from the great ones, the Bezyanis is part of the package deal. So if anybody's suffering Bezyanis, you got a lot of company. Welcome to the club. If you're having Bezyanis, it's great. Hasta Bezyanis. Okay, now I have the most. This story is not shaykh. This story is not shaykh. By the way, you don't know how Bezyanis kills you. You don't know how the fear of losing the recognition and the approval from people destroys you completely. It traps you and makes you. That's why the Kirov could be much, much better. Going out from Lakewood and going to some other place. The people are scared. A lot of it is that. So self-esteem. You know, what are they going to say? Now, I'm going to tell you, Mary. So the kids in my class have told me this more than once. You calmed us down because we're not afraid of Bezyanis anymore. My sister yells at me, don't mind, Bezyanis, it's kapara. Everybody knows the biggest kapara for Yom Noraim is Bezyanis. You want to be Zeicha B'din? Get some good Bezyanis. Best way to go. Bezyanis is the best thing in the world. You don't have to be in the hospital. Bezyanis. The world needs, I said a long time ago, I plan to build Kiryat Novhardok, and there's going to be a picture of a guy with his hat on backwards, and it's going to say underneath it, welcome to Novhardok, please dress accordingly. I'm joking. But the kids in my Novhardok, Kiryat Novhardok, if a kids will come home from school and say, Ma, how was school today, Babala? It was great. What happened? I got Bezyanis, Ma. That's going to be my chevra. My Kiryat Novhardok kids will come home. Ma, I got Bezyanis. Now, it's a joke, huh? I got a phone call from a certain young man who's having a terrible, this happened about 15 years ago. Terrible family life. A lot of Bezyanis going on. And the house was falling apart until the kids started watching me. And now the kids are teenage kids, and it's Mamish and Matthias. They have become full-fledged Novhardok kids. And when they get Bezyanis, they dance, all kidding aside. And it saved the whole house. Because the yelling and screaming that goes on there on the part of the parents, the kids welcome it. I have a mom. My mother's the best. She yells all day. I lose all my averas. It's great. Kumtsaran, Machtachemish. Johnny is here. Push back the Rebbe. This Rebbe is one of the underweight Rebbes. There's plenty of room. I'm joking. Anyway. So, I'm going to tell you a Maiso Bezyanis will save your life. Oh. Who's that? Naftali? That's... Oh, thank you. Now we're talking business. Rebbe. See that? Now the average Rebbe, look, you're okay. There's some Zach, Miller. Highlight. Now, please, the average Rebbe, when he's giving out Shirayim, what he does is that he takes a mashahu, and he has a big salmon fish, and he takes a mashahu. He barely ate anything, and some Rebbes kill the taste with different ways, then they eat. Now I have a different mahalach. You're lucky if I leave you over anything. I have a different mahalach. I have a different. I might see getting chesed. I don't want to be masak and the whole whatever. You know, it's a lot of work. I'm joking. I need cups. No, let's get moving. Go right up in nobody. Oh, okay. Go into the. You'll find it. Miller. Who wants a Budweiser? Who wants Miller High Life? A Heich 11. The Heich 11. You know everything. Simona Milsa. I believe in it. I'm going to drink this. I'm going to say it's a Heich 11, and not what he thinks is high. What he holds is high life. I mean, a little more. You know, they picked me up in Eretz Yisrael. I was in Bnei Brak for 1,000 people, at least my estimate. Somebody, out of the way, yeah. But there's plastic ones. Just open up another drawer. You'll see a whole bunch of plastic ones. You'll find it. So they picked me. My estimate is 1,000. That's somebody came, Mendel, I heard there were 1,000 in Bnei Brak and 1,000 in Yerushalayim. I spoke twice. So he's 1,000 people. I said, where did you hear that from? He says, somebody. I'm the one who started that rumor. It wasn't bad. They could have been 700. I mean, but I decided it's 1,000. Then we go. We always, you know, if you are in a habit of putting yourself down, then when you're working and you mean this, you say 1,000, say 2,000, as long as you exaggerate, Anyway, so, but it was very good. Oh, the cover they gave me, they picked me up. Sai in Yerushalayim and Sai in Bnei Brak, they picked me up and dancing around me. And they asked me for brachas. All the guys that asked me brachas, I'm positive they're having nisim glulim. Let's go. Now, what's the difference between High Life and Budweiser? Ich weiß, High Life sounds good, so it's a simon. It's got to be the High 11. The other got it. You know what's going to happen? You know how big I am? I promise you, Miller's going to call me up to tell me that since I started with Miller, their sales are skyrocketing, and I'm going to get a cut from them. And I'm the one that, you want a Dahib 11? By the way, since I came into business, the guy who makes Madrigas Adam, he sold 2,000 copies, mainly in Lakewood. He's in Israel, mainly in Lakewood. 2,000 copies of Madrigas. That's like a half a year ago. By now, everyone's into Madrigas Adam because they figure if you read that, you might become like Mandel. So it's worth a shot. Even a Suffolk Mandel is good. If it's designed Mandel, you know who Mandel is? You have no mercy. As much as the Elam holds for me, they don't know how big I really am. I'm Gorgavaldi. How do you like that? This, you never heard a Rebbe that should talk like this. No, look what I get away with. I'm still in business. You know, if anyone else did, they'd say, der Rebbe schmeckt von Gaius. I'm all about Gaia. It was, you know, what are you going to say? He has a complex. He has to talk like that all day. Let's get him a therapist. All he does is say how great he is. Matt Titanish, that's all he knows how to do. Mandel, I want you to know, when I want to cheer someone up, this is the best way to go. I say, forget about the shitas you got to, tikkun amidas, you have to build yourself up. You want to be a geschmacka guy, you got to go around saying I'm not so good. You're not going to get one smile out of anybody. You talk like me, yeah, at least you made Yin happy, that's for sure. And when these Mishalachim come to me, oh boy, how am I going to get this moving? Anybody want to help the Rebbe out? The Rebbe's not experienced. I only know Jack. I don't know this Mahalach. You gotta earn it. Oh, we got it. Oh, Machaya in the world. My father used to tell me the girls shouldn't drink the foam. Well, dann gehst du wachsen abud. You ever hear that? You drink the foam, you'd grow big. Who heard that? You never heard that? You heard it? What? Havdullah. Oh, from the Havdullah. You drink that. Vox, Mr. Vox not bored. So all the girls get out of the room. The guys, sometimes they would do that as a schooler. They were not bored, you know. So you get, okay, now. So what was I saying? Anyway, so when I'm very desperate and I have a mashulach in my house and I want to make him happy, I did this just once or twice recently. And he's like, I give him some money, whatever I give him. And then I see he's a little, I says, "De wees wer ich bin?" Nein. Die Zeus, hast du mal gesehen in Lakewood, Sadik Bali hier, die ganze Stadt? Ja, das bin ich. The guy cracks up. That's a guarantee. You get a laugh from that one. They love it. It's one of my favorite. I keep saying the same line. After Mechadish new ones, that's a great ones. I stay with it. You have to be such a Mechadish. Amachayim. Miller, highlight. We should have Yeshua's Gemuris. Everybody. Somebody from this oilam. I'm not going into detail. I got a phone call. I said, "You come to my oilam." They had a serious operation. Not stop, very complicated. I was called up. I said, "You got to be back to new overnight." I was very stark. The next day, a very complicated thing they were titering. A relative called me up. The next day, the guy was walking back and forth in the hospital. They didn't know what hit him. And they called me up, Mendel. They knew it was me. You know that. It's obvious. I mean, it was me. Gerade the Eberster also has a shaykhus. Don't forget the Eberster, you know. I know you're a Baal Meipus, but anyway, so it's a true story. This phone call was last night, or 2 nights ago. I got another one today. I got a phone call. This one's one of the best. Rabbi Mendel, my son, there's something wrong, serious spinal cord, Hashem Yirachem, a serious shaila, and the doctor screamed at me, "You must get an MRI immediately." And the parents called me up, crying on the phone, Rabbi Mendel. Give a bracha. Who says he needs the MRI? I don't believe he needs the whole business. He's fine. That's right. This is without looking at him. This is just the phone. I don't know him. I don't know her. I don't know the kid. I get a phone call a week later. Rabbi Mendel, who said he needs the MRI? Well, I did not listen to you. Oh, I'm so happy to hear that. You didn't listen to me. Folknish did ever, you know. And I went to to a different doctor who was supposed to. And the guy, he takes a look at the kid. He says, I'm not so sure you need the MRI. Did you hear that one? You know what you hear from that story? Medaf nish gloiben in the Rebbe. It's going to work anyway. My emunas chachamim is enough. This person, they told me on the phone. We didn't go along with you. We did go for an MRI, and the doctor had to straighten us out. The doctor had us. I'm not so sure he needs it. Did you hear that? So now what do we do? I says, so it's tell the doctor, your son feels okay, so go home, forget the whole thing. No, we can't play games. Okay, so go. So they're going to go again. They're not listening to me. Doesn't matter. I don't have any akpadas. In fact, if you're going against me as a good Novandiga, I'll go out of my way to be nice to you. You know how the way Novandigas work. Okay, here, fill them up. There's a whole big oilam here. Everybody wants some beer. Give them. Oh, I'm sorry. Next time we have to find an eitzah here. Okay, anyway. So, I'm going to tell you another story. This is the best in the universe. Listen closely. This story is a gold mine. Shein Kamayo. This guy calls me up. Now listen. It's not so easy to deal with the public. I don't have one person that I don't deal with. I don't care who. I have people that call me up, Erev or Vaikav, it's Arayim. They're afraid they didn't call me 3 times a day, I promise you. I have all kinds of OCD cases. They call me up from all, I have even Eretz Yisrael, the OCD guys. They're always reaching me. I don't know how no one can reach me, but these guys always, and to say, oh, here he is again. Yeah, what else is new? And it's another bracha. And they just say, okay, now this guy is the only person that I have certain religious reasons that it's not so partial. I'm going to give you a muscle. He's going to say certain things that I can't deal with. A muscle. I don't want to get involved. But I had Shilas. It's the only guy. I don't have this problem with nobody. I speak to the whole world. Now, he called me up, crying like a baby. His matziv is taka serious. Pekuach nefesh. Mamish pekuach nefesh. Sakonis nefashis tika matziv. That's what the guy said. What should I do? The plan was to call him back. You know, if I have a policy not to call back, I paskin. It's not prashit. I know he has to go. That's a good sign. That's a good sign. Oh, the machtbrelach. Good semana melsehi. As gist. Hashpaz tevis. This is a good sign. Hashpaz tevis. It's fine. It's going to be all right. Rabbi Yehуда Mendel, you know the famous guy? He's all right. He's not makbid. Anyway, so listen to this. I decided, look, I really don't want to call him back. I shouldn't. I do want to, because this guy is so close to me. I'll do anything for him. And I'm very involved. I'm ready, like neck deep. And it's hard for me not to call. And I say, I'm going to be kavish my yetzer not to call. And I'm makabel an hour that I'm not calling. And in that hour, I don't know what happens afterwards. I hope I won't call at all. In that hour, I'm going to write down all the godless of being kavish yetzer hara and not doing what you want to do. And I'm going to spend an hour doing it. It took me 20 minutes, and I was finished. In 20 minutes, I wrote. Now, do you know what happened? 2 hours later, the guy calls me up. I didn't believe it was the same guy. The simcha level, the whole thing turned around like nothing happened. And you know why? I'm going to tell you why. Now, I have done this before. I have done certain things that are against my nature. I once saved somebody's life, a friend of mine's father's life, by spending an hour, whatever, learning, whatever. You can do things against your nature and you can save. This time, I never had such mileage. It was such a turnaround. The whole matzah was moshe kapaya in such a short time. And I say, you know why? Because I spent 20 minutes writing about the godless of what I was doing. I appreciated what I was doing. So Baruch Hu b'Torah Tchila, says the Ran, they weren't machshav their Torah. That's why Torah didn't help them. You're machshav what you're doing. You had this kedai to do it. Whenever you're going to work on something, write down the godless of that, and it'll work much better. Here, like that one. You're going to sit and learn. You know what the stipler? There's a guy here in Lakewood. He's a Bal Yasurim Neiroyim. Rav Chaim Kanevsky got 10 people together to learn from him. He's going to have the most serious operation. And he saved the guy's life, like Rav Chaim Kanevsky, with a minyan of learning Torah. Did wonders for the guy. He told me he saved him. So I tell you, you want to really to work, get the Nefesh HaChaim who tells you what Talmud Torah is all about. And then do it. Oh boy, is it going to work. How do you like that one? Isn't that something? That's hafla of a fella. You did something in Shmiras Haloshin. You learned, people do that. They have yeshuas. Learn about the greatness of Shmiras Haloshin, and it's going to go even further. Shmiras Einayim, there used to be a guy here who used to watch his eyes. Every time he didn't look, he davened, he got whatever he wanted. B'schus that. Learn Sfarim that tell you how great it is, and it works even better. It's a shtak about, no? You like that? Okay, anyway. Now I'll tell you another mice that happened. Half of a fellow. I got a phone call. This is true, like you can't believe it. This guy was married to a first-class witch, a real machshefa. He lucked out. He got himself And Novanik would be overjoyed. Could work on your meters with her. She's great. She yells all day. You know what I say a successful trip is? When throughout the trip, you didn't answer your wife. That's a successful trip, even though she's yelling at you in public. Or throughout the trip, when your teenage son was acting with sugar in front of everybody, didn't say anything. That's a successful trip. But what you did, what you accomplished, or there was something in me that's going on that you took care of, or maybe you were nice to somebody who needed and you took them along, whatever it is. There's always, people are distracted. You know what's a successful Shabbos tish? You have a tish and you don't yell at this one, you don't get nervous about that one. That's a good tish. The midah behind everything, that's more important than everything. Okay, anyway. Here's the mysterious midas. This guy's married to a first-class witch. He called me up 2 years ago. And he said, what should I do for my witch? I said, was dir for mein teure Witch? Was dir for mein teure Witch? I saw a Yid in Eretz Yisrael who was married to a first-class machshefa. This I saw with my own eyes. He used to come home every night, a European Jew. Us guys, forget it. We be in divorce courts. Every night he came, I saw my own eyes. Was kommst du heim so spät? Was hast denn du getan? She's a real Polish Yidina, you know, these tough ladies. And she cursed him to the ground. I don't know if she ever smiled since the day she was born. She was a real sour, you know, echt holidays. He got a real metzia. And this is matzah, ani, mami, mamas. He got one of those. And so I saw this with my own eyes. He used to laugh in her face. He loved it. He didn't care. And I remember he used to curse. If every curse, he blessed her twice. He always says, he always said that when he said other stuff. That was the relationship. And he was happily married. That's the way it works. You know, he was a farmer. He used to come home after a full day's work to hear his wife curse him to the ground. And he used to laugh. He had a son who was the most normal, well-adjusted kid you ever heard. So in your life, he was a happy guy. That's the way life goes. You know, in England, they used to say, Kach b'nois tzlavcha daibrois. That's the way they talk. You know about that? Kach b'nois tzlavcha. That's the lady, you know what they do today? Do you know what she said to me? What I go through. You know what she called me? Rav Miller speaks about Tuvei, it's a chazal. Tuvei deshama v'yodesh, chofu b'shtei meya. It's a chazal. Happy is the person that he hears and he's oddish. He's happy. He doesn't care. B'shtei meya, 100 bad things go over his head. Let it go over your head. Let it scream. So what? She called you to stand up. So why not? You're a jerk. You're this. The Welt says, sticks and stones will break my bones, but names will never harm me. Can't shine before the wills. It's like a poor, and the Vatics would love it. I witnessed. I knew all the Vatics had decent wives, except for one of them. I remember one. She yelled at him. She yelled at him. When he was nifta, she was crying. Yeah. When he was nifta, she was crying. I said, what? How come? Everything okay? Listen to this one. And Mamish didn't care. He used to compliment her on the food. Mamish couldn't care less. So I go, yo, why not? What's wrong with yelling? I said, good. Okay, let's get this going. Okay, here. Okay, now. I just want to end up. The guy with the witch, this is a true story. I told him, write how great your witch is. 10, 20 minutes a day. An imagined thing. She wasn't from either, by the way. She had all different coolest, and don't ask. He was living with a nightmare. Another guy wouldn't be able to deal with it. So he was busy. And No, this guy did suffer. I'm sorry. That's not the European guy, he's an American guy. He was going through Gehenna. And I told him, write nice things about her. She just finished Gans Tillim. She never took a Tillim in her hands since the day she was born. She was a rebel, a machshev. She didn't get along with her father. One of those, she fell in. He ignored her. Do that. She did it. He did it for 2 years. Like after a month, she started changing. He just wrote lies, how great she is. After 2 years, he just called me up. He says he can't handle her anymore. She's so frum and she's so nice. This is not, he just has to adjust to, I promise you, he hard time adjusting to what she became.